Welcome back to Dum Dum's 2099, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into a futuristic world of Dungeons & Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukake, your host. Desperate to heal Declan, Honor System and Bourbon Sherbert stormed Waypoint Delta and forced criminals to augment Declan's body. Once he'd recovered, having won over their hostages, our heroes received a dune buggy and made their escape. Can they build a brighter future in 2099? Or will Geffcinda Bee-Zos find them first? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099.
Declan and Honor System, you set up shop in Neo Baldur's Gate, once a hive of scum and villainy, now still a hive of scum and villainy, but with slightly less neon signs. Declan, this was always on your bucket list of places to disappear because it is very much a everyone minds their own business, den of thieves and miscreants kind of place. And even with the kind of change in power situation, gamblers still got to gamble, drinkers still got to drink, addicts still got to addict, and Neo Baldur's Gate is where you can do all of those things, no matter what the rest of the world looks like. So, a perfect place to disappear. Not as ideal for kind of undermining an entire government system as you previously needed. So, Nair Frost made more sense of a base of operations, but now that that's not the main issue, Neo Baldur's Gate is a perfect place for you guys to lay low for a bit. And that's what you do. As days turn into weeks turn into months, and around you, the world continues to change. You manage to make contact with some of your lost allies. Sublime, being the master assassin that she is, finds you, sets back up that line of communication. After MechFest, her crew went to ground for a bit and happily avoided the destruction of Nairfrost. So it's nice to know that they're out in the world. They've shifted. Their base of operations is actually here in Neo Baldur's Gate, but they are primarily operating now in Waterdeep. For the massive metropolis, there are plenty of opportunities for assassins right now. Particularly during all the power grabs, and also just there's a lot of revolutionary comeuppance and violence occurring. You kind of think post French Revolution stuff, where a lot of the sort of ruling class are being taken out in rather public ways now that the conglomerata no longer exists to shield them. You're surprised, honestly, kind of shocked, Declan, to hear from Chainsaw Linetti. Who was in had hardened up his bunker enough that when the beam hit, he was badly injured but not killed. He was one of several people who kind of crawled from the wreckage. The crater that was Nairfrost was a proper mess. A lot of people kind of crawled up and out from it as time went on. He was one of them. So you now have a hacker who unfortunately isn't fully connected to anything anymore, but is a potential source of information. You've been contacted by House Duerden. Drizzt's sister Briza and her brother Dinan have reached out and said that Drizzt always spoke very highly of you and your cause, and they know that he died by your side in MechFest, and as a result they feel some. They had mixed feelings about Drizzt, but they do feel some familial bond to you. Also, they've seen how deadly you and Honor System are. So I think, and they also know that one of you had a mage, if you don't still, and mages have become a hot commodity. So they're eager to reopen connection. It was basically you received the equivalent of a telegram with like the Battlestar Galactica corners cut off because the future, but. It wasn't like you're not in like daily communication or anything. It was kind of a, hey, we exist. We know you're still out there. We'll be in touch kind of message. And finally, the biggest shift is the rise of the blockchain. Your former allies and almost employers have become a major power broker in the world, with mages flooding back into the world of 2099, having been freed from the stack. power now rests in their hands. The oppressed have, in a lot of ways, become the oppressors, as the blockchain has moved to implement the equivalent of a brand new government. So the conglomerata has fallen, and in its place, the world has become a cryptocracy, as MFTs, mage fungible tokens, have become the major currency of the world. For after all, quantum energy may be gone, but mages can still harness that power to power things. So as a result, mages have essentially become, and their agents have become the equivalent of prize fighters or celebrities. Everyone needs one, and if you have a mage who's willing to work with you, suddenly all of your quantum shit works again.
Sorry, Tom, I was too busy saying no to actually hear what MFT stood for.
It's a mage fungible token. Yep. I came up with several other versions, and I realized MFT was just the fastest one. So, fun fact: there's no word for employment that starts with a T. Because I desperately wanted mage for hire, but it doesn't have the same effect. So we're in a world of crypto. Everyone battling it out for MFTs, and MFTs are becoming extraordinarily wealthy as a result. And Declan, for you, this is a goddamn nightmare. The whole point of toppling the conglomerata was to remove the layer of assholes above everyone who is getting rich off the backs of everyone below them. And now the same people who helped you do that have found a new, different way to turn a profit that sure doesn't involve necessarily the enslavement of the entire planet, but does still create an aristocracy and a higher class of citizen who is living large with technology that was previously available to all and is now only available to the elite few, backed, of course, by the very people that you sought to help, the blockchain. Now, granted, the rhetoric is still very revolutionary. It's still very much like, look at the power we're putting into the hands of the people. But those people are very limited, and also, admittedly, most of the mages don't really know what they're doing. So, granted, they're being paid for their work now, but they're ultimately still just fancy batteries. And this has led to a still very fragmented society, but those with quantum energy now have a distinct advantage over those without. The conglomerate also didn't go away overnight, as you can imagine from a government collapse that employed so much of the planet and had such a stranglehold on the continent of Faerun. All of the regulators didn't just disappear in a puff of smoke. Two distinct factions have kind of come forward. There is Synergy Incorporated, which is a mercenary group made up of previous executives and regulators who are essentially now renting their services out to the highest bidder. These are the diehard, we're really good at what we do, but our government is gone now, so I guess we got to turn a profit. They're in direct competition with Greywater Inc. and the other mercenary groups that already existed here in Faerun. The difference is these folks are armed and armored to the teeth with the best, like FF is an S tech, the best typhus tech, all the best shit. So they're an incredibly powerful paramilitary group. The other group that you actually have a link to is the Escrow. These are the last loyalists of the conglomerata, led by your sometime ally, Carmine Falstaff. These are regulators and, again, people from all levels of corporate life that still believe that a version of the conglomerata could exist, could be built, a better version, one that's perhaps less corrupt, one out from under the thumb of Grace and Typhus, who actually view the power vacuum Typhus left as the perfect opportunity to fix what many would view as a broken system. The regulators still wear the heraldry of the conglomerata. The power structures are still there. There is no longer, obviously, the power, governmental power. They're almost an underground organization, but they are essentially the remnant of the previous government, who are making the argument that they could rise again now that the corruption has been forcibly removed. So overall, things are getting a bit weird. But perhaps nothing is as weird as the frequent disappearances of Bourbon Sherbert, who you see only occasionally, as the self-proclaimed archmage sets out to provide guidance under Mistress Xanthus's orders to the mages who don't want to turn themselves into MFTs, the ones who are out kind of on their own, trying to figure out how to harness their powers as magic flows back into the world. You can kind of imagine the world right now as a bit of like the beginning of any X-Men movie, where like everyone has powers that they either haven't used in a long time, used in Old Faerun. People are manifesting magic now that the sort of clamps have been released. Also with the return of gods, suddenly there's a lot more power floating around. Now, Moonhammer isn't like walking the streets, so you don't need to worry about that, but certainly there are miracles being performed. There are street preachers farting joyfully. The amount of public urination has increased tenfold. And there are, generally speaking, like almost think more of like a 60s through 80s guru culture starting to form, where there are like small groups like the Krishnas or anyone else who just like wander through like happily eating beans and farting, and like no one really knows what their deal is, but they all seem really happy and like they're good friends with each other. They're kind of just odd occurrences. They seem out of place, but everything is so topsy-turvy right now that really isn't that much stranger than a bunch of people still wearing suits and calling themselves the Escrow. Maybe not. So generally speaking, things are getting weird. So Declan, for you, this is obviously a bit of a problem. The other big question mark is, you've got your list of CEOs to drop, and there's still one outstanding. No one has heard from Jeff Bee-Zos in a while, pretty much since he leveled Nairfrost. That definitely didn't seem like the end of his plan after broadcasting to the world that his dream was coming true. But you suspect that his plan didn't account for losing all possible energy. So no one's heard from him in a while, but he's definitely still number one with a bullet on your list. That said, the world around you is rapidly becoming something you hate. What again, keeping in mind this takes place over a couple months, what's Declan's kind of general view on things as all of this progresses?
I feel like it would probably be heavily flavored by Honor System's take on it, so maybe we could do a quick convo and just sum up their months of debate and discussion. So System, I don't fucking like any of this, and I think what I'm realizing as I grow and mature as a human being is I'm never gonna not kill the bad people. But my problem now is a lot of people who were good have become bad. Like I fucking Bee-Zos. It's the only fucking name on my current list, but like this blockchain thing seems fucking terrible when I make a new aristocracy. Synergy are one bad deal away from starting their own fucking military dictatorship. Same problem with the Escrow. Conglomerata didn't fucking go away. And then I feel like the only people that I do like are the fucking mages hiding in the woods trying to figure out what they want to do. And yet, I'm worried they're going to come out like every other asshole and be like, congratulations, King of the Mages. What the fuck is wrong with people?
Is there room on your list for more names?
You know what? I'm going to switch it over to the tablet. And then there's just an unlimited number. It goes in the eye. It's fucking there. Yeah, whoever else we need.
Then as names are added to the list, we will do what we do.
I have to say, you have a philosophical simplicity that brings me such great joy. Start with Bee-Zos, then we'll wait for people to identify themselves as leaders of the assholes of these various factions, and then I guess we'll kill them too until somebody puts himself in charge who seems reasonable.
Yes. Yes, that sounds perfect.
I love we need to get t-shirts made that just say kill people until the world makes sense. Because I feel like at the core of the new future, that's our philosophy.
I don't think we should advertise that sort of philosophy given the largely insurmountable odds we currently face.
Correct. I don't think we need to make that into t-shirts. Other than Bee-Zos, is there anyone you find particularly egregious?
No, Bee-Zos truly is the most reprehensible kind of creature. We may have to change who our friends and enemies are on the fly and as things develop, but currently Jeff Bee-Zos is my number one target as well.
All right, so he's at the top of the list, and then we might have a rotating list of priorities. Now, I'd assumed that the odds against us would be getting smaller. Instead of just the conglomerate, it seems like at some point everyone will try to kill us because we're going to try to kill them. We need to find a brain doctor.
I don't understand.
I have memories about my son, and the only weakness I have at this point is my son. I need to remove those memories so I don't know fucking shit about him, so that if they catch me, they can't fucking go after him.
I see. Will you ever reclaim those memories?
I mean, logically, no, because I don't think the heat's going to die down. But here's the tricky part. I can't just know nothing because they may send my son and then I shoot my son. And that's its own realm of fucked up. So I need you to keep the info about my son so that they can't fool me into doing evil. But I can't fucking know it because I don't think they can break you. I don't think it's possible to torture you enough that you'll talk.
I can be hacked, Declan.
No, you can't. Fuck you. If I can't do it, fucking no one can do it. I've been in there. You fucking did brain fights with fucking Ronins and shit.
I will keep the memory of Seamus for you. And should we someday find that our bloody work has come to an end, I will find a way to bring Seamus back to you.
Perfect. And then if you can't, and you're going to get captured and I'm dead or whatever, just fucking purge the file. Just get him the fuck out of there.
I will try to, but I've found that some of my more mechanical tendencies are a little bit more difficult for me to tap into.
Okay, I don't want to add like a ticking clock to any scenario that pops up, but let's say someone's trying to hack you and they're the best. How long do you think that'll take?
I'll run like a quick like diagnostic on myself. I come back and I say, assuming I'm under duress and dealing with several other factors, approximately 2 minutes.
All right, so if you're taken alive, I have 2 minutes to rescue you. Well, this doesn't seem like a good plan, but I don't have a better one. And if someone talks to me or I talk in my fucking sleep, I can give away information about my son. So we still got to do the fucking purge in my brain.
You don't talk in your sleep. At least, you don't talk about Seamus.
Well, that's good, but I don't want that to... What do I talk about in my sleep?
You're typically cursing other people. And just like a quick little like playback. She kind of just goes out like, "Die, you motherfuckers! I'll kill every last one of you." Just, yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I'm okay with that on the scale of things. That feels like me at my core. Okay, so Brain Doctor Bee-Zos. We got to find some fucking information. We got to plug Linetti into some sort of fucking supercomputer Baldur's Gate casino center. I don't know. I'm not good at fucking investigations.
Everyone that I'm aware of in possession of the largest, most sophisticated databases and networks has opted to guard them strictly, guard them intensely, with networks being down and quantum energy being now a very finite resource. New value has been placed on these sophisticated computing units. And so getting Linetti to any substantial kind of information network is going to be a challenge.
All right, so maybe it's time to take everybody who's not number one on our list and be like, "Hey, friend, I'd really like access to your fucking database so I can kill a bunch of bees inside a robot."
It would be wise to rely on our friends while they're still our friends, yes.
I feel like that sums up probably our couple of weeks of planning, Tom.
Great.
So I'll throw back to you here.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, so from what you've identified, then you need to. So Linetti, having done the job, I believe he was the one who did Alan's neural implant, so he can do some brain doctoring for you. Just won't be pleasant. So he's, I think, a safe pull for that. If you're looking for information about kind of Bee-Zos' whereabouts and all that sort of stuff, you'll need to lean on your friends, as Honor System put it. So of the groups available to you, you have an in with the Escrow. I think the blockchain has stopped. They were pretty
taking our calls.
Well, they were pretty cagey to begin with, so yes, they wouldn't want to be associated with you, particularly since they're the ascendant power. Being like, hey, here's the terrorists we used to overthrow the government, isn't a great look. They haven't moved against you in any way, but like the bounties that have been put out, because the thing is, there's still a lot of digital wealth was wiped out, but there is still a lot of hard currency kicking around. So like the bounties put out by people who have lost large on YouTube because of how publicly everything went down at MechFest are very like much in play. They haven't done anything to shut that down, but they also haven't taken out their own. So kind of neutral, but getting worse would be a sort of a safe way to put it. But you were kind of on the outs with them earlier anyway, Declan. Like I don't think you've really ever, after the initial bout of trust, trusted them. So you can reach out to the Escrow. You can reach out to House Stewarden. You can reach out to the Twists, or you can reach out to Bourbon Sherbert. I think for the sake of mechanics and time, let's get you to roll to see how many of these you can activate.
Great.
I think Declan, if you can give me a streetwise and honor system, if you can give me an investigation, I think.
Investigation 14.
Mm-hmm.
17 for Streetwise from
17?
Declan.
Okay, so I'm going to say you can reach out to two of these groups, 50%.
We can pick one each. Declan would check in with the Escrow because as conglomerate of loyalists, that's who he thinks they'd go after. Like they'd have the most up-to-date info.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, I think I actually missed the name here. The executives and regulators that are renting out their tech. What's that group named again?
Synergy Incorporated.
Synergy Incorporated, and they're not friends of ours, right?
They're not. No, they're actually. They are likely. They're neutral to you because the fall of the conglomerate wasn't great for them, but now they're actually making almost more money renting out their services. Escrow is like weirdly, you've got an in with Carmine, and from what Ryan has just pointed out, you have like a mutual enemy. You are also though, like this is a real like how much convincing do you have to do to get Vegeta on side kind of situation where it's like you also literally destroyed their shit. Like that said, the new stuff is so yeah, they're a bit of a question mark, but yes. Synergy Incorporated is neutral negative, I think I would probably say. But,
okay.
But yeah, they're...
Sorry, I wanted to make sure that I had that name to work with because I did lose it in the...
Yeah, no sweat. In the giant info dumps I've just been dropping about the state of the world. Yeah, no worries.
I think because Honor System lacks guile, really, right? Like, he can't lie and takes a lot of things at face value. I think he'd probably...
I think he can lie now.
What... Did we say that? Okay.
It was towards the end. I think it was part of your new robot form. Gave you the ability to lie, if I remember correctly.
I will have to double check on that. I also lied about having a number to take at the way station, but I basically considered that as like causing me psychic pain to do it. But regardless, I think just his personality is like he just doesn't have the kind of guile that Declan does have, right? Like he's so I think he's going to go with the Twists to meet them because they're the most friendly. are among the most friendly, and checking in with them would be good to kind of make sure we understand what their goals are, and if, because he's still part cold computer, if they need to be eliminated later. So it's just good to check in on that.
Fair enough. Okay, so of those two, who would you check in with first collectively, do you think? I'll let you each check in with your own group, but I feel like you would strategize about.
I'd suggest we do the twists first, because if they've got a piece of information that might be of interest to Falstaff, and Falstaff's a little bit hostile, we might be able to trade some horses.
That's interesting. I was going to recommend we go to Escrow first, because if they don't give us a good deal, we are more favorable with the twists.
All right, I like your logic. We're going to go to Escrow first, because they're more likely to fuck us over than the twists.
Fair enough. Okay, so you put out your feelers, and I think like you likely had some way of contacting Carmine based on your kind of alliance of convenience.
What is it? The message board for our favorite band?
Is it X Japan?
It's X Japan.
X Japan.
Yeah.
It's the X Japan board.
Yeah, everyone is quite pleased to hear that the reports of the drummer's demise were highly exaggerated and that he's fine. So
I was the lead guitarist.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
Oh, really? Oh, damn. Well,
Yeah, he did. Oh well.
this was just a callback to the message that evoked all of your friends in the previous one. Damn. Reality is sneaking into our fantasy game. Right. So Carmine agrees to a meet. He says he can't let his people know because they're not huge fans, but he respects. He was also like at Ground Zero with you. He's still sore about the disappearance of his husband Fiddlesworth. So like he's more on side than someone leading the Escrow should be. But you get the sense that the people beneath him are all just as corporate ladder climby, bloodthirsty as they would have been in the conglomerata. So it really is one of those like I can lead this as long as. Like, it's a runaway train. I'm not driving it, but I am currently the conductor. So he agrees to meet at what would have at one point been like a nice corporate eatery, but is now like slightly more of a weird kind of indie joint because like there's no more infrastructure to really support it. So you arrive at Nishiki Fudge's Flavor Emporium, which in classic cyberpunk fashion, everything is served in a bowl with chopsticks and has noodles, but like is any other dish you want. It's just everything has those base ingredients. You find a booth. It was clearly once like an Earl's up here or like a Milestones or just like a very generic kind of corporate restaurant. But Nishiki Fudge has clearly started to kind of put his own stamp on the Flavor Emporium. So when you arrive, the chef himself comes out. He's got just spiked green, like beard, hair, eyebrows. You can tell that now that he doesn't have to wear a hairnet, he's just like letting it loose. He's got he's wearing that white pantsuit from the first shop you visited. But he's like zhuzhed it up by like drawing things on it, so it looks a little bit like a kid drew on a napkin. And he's got just a little lobster bib on, just in case he's got to chow down on some lobster. He's just always ready. And he comes in and he says, "Hey guys, welcome to the Flavor Emporium. My name's Nishiki. I'm head chef here. It's so good to see you. I know things are a little different here now, but I tell you, I'm going to kick it up a notch for all y'all. So you come on in. Hey, you meeting someone? You need a table? What do you need? Hey, Robot Moya, well, what can I get for the Tin Man here? Is he going to have food or what?"
Carmine Falstaff.
And you just hear a sigh echo from the back. "Oh, yeah, you want to go sit at Carmine F? No, that might be too obvious. You see Falstaff's booth? Yeah, he's right back there." And he just like, no, there's no low volume. And you just see Carmine like slinking down behind a menu, also wearing a lobster bib, but just kind of like sinking down a little bit. But he is absolutely there. Declan, do you want to give me a quick
perception if I'm scanning the place?
I think perception's probably the right.
That is a 14.
14. There are a lot of untouched meals in this place. It's pretty full. And there's certainly like a lot of tables like having drinking games and like, you know, eating the bottomless bread and pasta bowls with chopsticks, because again, everything must be in a bowl with chopsticks. But there are several tables where people who look like, you know, they fit in perfectly here, haven't touched their food, and just seem to be kind of carrying out polite conversation over untouched bowls.
Great. Are there windows that would allow me to see Carmine Falstaff's table?
I'm imagining you are at having been greeted by Nishiki, you're like at the front entrance.
Yes.
But do you mean like from inside, are there windows?
Like if I were to turn around and leave and go somewhere to set up a sniper's position, could I get eyes on that table?
Unfortunately, because this is a corporate joint, you can almost think of it as like a massive cargo container plunked down on like a mid-level street. Neo Baldur's Gate isn't too vertical. It's not like Nairfrost where it's like a full proper like Nar Shaddaa or New York from Fifth Element. But there is still some verticality. So you're kind of on the mid-level, but no, it's basically just a giant metal box. So not great for sniping.
Yes. Nope. There's a whole plan he can do. He's basically gonna, just as he's standing there where nobody could see, thumb the 2 frag grenades he took from the bad guys into his hands. And then he's just going to pull the pins out of them and put his hands in his pockets. So if he lets those grenades go, it'll just fuck this whole restaurant up. And then he'll just wander over to sit with Carmine.
Cool. So you're brought over. Nishiki immediately starts snapping for a server. And, eventually, someone materializes sort of out of the darkness. A gnome comes over and starts like slapping a giant laminated menus down. You can tell they've recently been made. They're all drawn by hand because computers, but with love. So he slaps all those down and just says, like, "Hello, I will be Blibbles, your server today here at the Flavor Emporium. We're going to kick it up a notch, as Chef Nishiki is so fond of saying. Can I bring you any appetizers for those of you with mouths?" And then he does like one of those like I have to do this things where like double finger guns honor system, and then like looks to Declan and Carmine for some kind of response. Carmine, you can hear Carmine gritting his teeth from here. He hates this place with every fiber of his being. Declan, how do you respond?
Great, I'll get an order of he looks at the menu, donkey slap nachos, and a beer in a garbage can.
Alrighty, so number 2, great. And he turns to Carmine, and Carmine's like, the same. Says, all right, 2 number 2 specials coming up. And I'll bring you some circuit chips. And then he just fades away.
This
Carmine,
guy's just looking at... Sorry, go ahead.
Carmine, I hate this place, and I respect you less for bringing us here.
Declan, when I used to come here, you could get a proper lobster meal at a reasonable, if you're expensing it, price. I hate it here now, too. I didn't know. See, things used to be a little bit better before a couple of people who shall remain nameless, brought the whole fucking ceiling down on us. So enjoy your donkey slap bowl. I'll enjoy mine, and we can talk about business. But rest assured, I am no more comfortable here than you are.
Things were not better before, Carmine.
Great. Fantastic.
I really like him. Okay, so here's the deal. We could just do this fucking quick. We need to know where Jeff Bezos is so we can kill him.
Yes, Geffcinda Bee-Zos of Amazon. We've been looking high and low. We've turned up every apiary we can, and yet the buzzing bastard seems nowhere. My agents have been doing as much investigation as they can, but it would seem that he left his island long before any of us got there. It's a little more difficult to get there after we lost all the fucking power in the world, of course, but nevertheless, we arrived to find the entire island cleared out. Seemed people left rather quickly. Of course, being a packing giant, there were enough boxes to go around, so that was fine. But he's gone to ground. We haven't heard much of him since. Of course, with all the communication networks down, that's somewhat to be expected. But we are starting to hear some rumblings. There's apparently a large announcement coming. A number of MFTs have been snapped up rather publicly by an unknown buyer. So our sources within the cursed blockchain suggest that there is someone with a rather large amount of power doing something somewhere, which of course is not exactly great intel, but it's what we're working with, at least until we can restore things to the way they ought to be.
Do you know where the mages are being collected from?
We do not. As you know, MFT auctions are all too common right now. The agents of the mages have been very active. We've managed to secure a few ourselves, of course, but not nearly as many as this unknown buyer. But if I were a gambling man, as my husband was, I would put good money on it being Bee-Zos.
Can you?
Do you have any idea which? Oh, sorry, System. Go ahead.
Can you connect us with any of these agents that you've dealt with? Perhaps they know about this demand, about this uptick in collecting MFTs.
You could, of course, attend an auction yourselves, but given the notoriety of the two of you, I suspect you would be met with rather large resistance. I understand you were friends with the blockchain previously, but they seem to have found a new niche for themselves sitting in me and my ilk's well-worn seats, so I would advise against it.
All right. Do you know who the top, in terms of the auctioneer or the agents representing these MFTs, do you have one you can name where you're like, that's the name in the business?
Well, of course, the erstwhile leader of the blockchain, Ilona Musk, is the most notorious. Of course, there's also the Reverend Doge and someone who's named herself Lady Ethereum, the three main heads. I suspect Ilona will be somewhat hard to get to, but the other two are somewhat more fringy and are common auctioneers. You may have more luck with them. Of course, if you do want to attend an auction, I can certainly recommend a few, but I would be concerned for your safety. And then all of a sudden, you just hear hee-haw, and bam, two bowls just slam down. And Bibbles hops up on the table and starts doing the donkey dance, which I won't describe because your imagination will do a better job of it than mine. But whenever someone orders a donkey slap bowl, got to get that donkey dance.
Is it like the donkey roll?
It may be. It goes on for 2 straight minutes. And then before he leaves the table, he spins around and says, "Hey, how's that first bite treating you?" Carmine, you can see his fingers twitching toward gun. Like his hand is like halfway between transforming. You know, like when people like stress their hands. We established in the previous arc that his hands can turn into guns, like he's a bad improv actor. So he's just sitting there like flexing almost into pistol and out, desperately trying not to shoot this gnome. Declan and Honor System, how do you respond to the donkey dance and the first bite question?
Yeah, first bite's great. We'll give you a 50% ticket, tip at the end of this if you just leave now and don't come back.
All right, you guys enjoy your meal. And he hops off, and you can just hear like as he starts to walk away, the table 2 tables over from you is like 3 number 2s, and there's just that little drop of the shoulders as he realizes he's going to have to donkey dance 3 more times, and then he disappears back into the kitchen.
Honor System is feeding nachos to Declan, knowing that he's got 2 unpinned grenades in his pants. So he can't take his hands out. So
Carmine is admittedly somewhat jealous that you have a robot who will feed you. He misses those days.
Oh, thank you, System. That's very nice.
All right, so where can we find this system? Let's just use the old flip a coin in the robot's head programming. Lady Ethereum or Reverend Doge? Which one's your preference?
You hear like a little ding, and then Lady Ethereum.
All right, yeah, where can we find this Lady Ethereum character?
She's been, as I understand it, quite instrumental in setting up some of the new breads and circuses here in Neo Baldur's Gate. I believe you can find her in the, I believe they call it the Pit. It's the Robo Fighting Arena. It's in the Southwest District. Look for the old library. As you know, I mean, we should have kept them, but we didn't, and there wasn't much use for them, so it had been abandoned for some time before she moved in. But yeah, she runs an underground robot fighting ring there. You should be able to find her there on any day. They often have auctions in the upper floors following the battles. So, you know, everyone with a pocket full of credits has got to want to buy an MFT, right? After all, they can only increase in value, I'm told. God, I miss the days of credit.
All right, well, it looks like we've got the information that we need. So I'm thinking you should walk us out the door as a nice friend.
Yeah, about that. This doesn't come for free. Bee-Zos is more responsible to my eye for the destruction of the Conglomerata than you are. If you go after him, me and my people want in. You need to keep us in the loop. We'll be there to support you. And more importantly, I want to guarantee that you will not harm any of them until after our mutual threat has been disposed of.
We know you, Carmine, but your people is an ethereal thing.
They are remnants of the Conglomerata, yes, and yes, we do hope to restore the system that you fought so hard to destroy. But keep in mind, the Conglomerata we seek is one without the corrupting influence of the Falstaffs and the Ventuses of the world, without Tiffany's running around making backroom deals. We want a pure Conglomerata, and you can rail and fight, and we'll fight back, that's fine. But that's tomorrow. Today, the threat of Bee-Zos and Amazon must be stopped. You saw what he did to Nairfrost. None of us can strive while he has that power.
Yeah, if you're saying that you'll help us in the assault and you don't shoot at us and we don't shoot at you through that process and then we go our own ways and have a nice little war if we need to in future, that sounds good to me. I mean, I'd shake your hand, but I've got grenades in my pants.
Well, that's fine. I'd shake yours, but I also got guns installed in my knees and they tend to trigger the hands. So glad to know we're all under threat here. Do you want to finish your donkey slap bowl or can we leave?
Oh, no, I'm very good to leave, thank you. This is disgusting.
Excellent. If you happen to kill Bibbles, no complaints here. And with that, he stands, and sure enough, like you see all the people who haven't touched their meals kind of like look over. He kind of cricks his legs as he puts the cannons back in. And then he starts to walk out with you, and Nishiki stops you guys on the way out. And she's like, "Hey guys, I saw you didn't finish your donkey slap bowls. Everything all right? Here, your garbage cans full of beer barely touched. And can I get you to-go cans for that? Do you want a bottle of donkey slap sauce to take home? What can Nishiki Fudge do to slam up some flavor in your daily lives?"
Slam up some flavor.
I'm tremendously sorry, Nishiki, but I'm going to have to go because, you see, I accidentally picked up these 2 grenades and he just takes them out of his pocket and shows me. He's like, and the pins are out. So if I let these go, we all die. So I'm thinking I should leave your fine establishment, yes?
Yeah, man, that's a bit more intense than our normal kids' meal and treasure chest that comes to your table at the end of the day. Normally it just has cans of body spray in it, but you found grenades. Someone's getting fired. Okay, you guys have a good night. Please don't blow us up and tell your friends if you enjoyed the donkey slap bowls. Please don't kill me. And then just like moves behind you and closes the doors.
All right, looks like we're good to go. You know, the strange thing is, I feel like I didn't like that place, but someone who sounds like me, that would be their favorite restaurant.
I mean, what does Honor System have to say to that? She's just like, he nods knowingly. Yes, of course, Declan. Yes, good.
Amazing. So, having made a fairly reasonable ask of Falstaff and not having shot him or gone to war with him, you have secured the somewhat tentative support of the Escrow. And you're now aware that Bee-Zos is planning something, and you have the in with Lady Ethereum. Alan, around this time, you are just like deep in Barovia. Things are going to shit. But little do you know, a mage tower awaits you not too far away. The time has come to go visit your other connection. You want to go talk to the Twists. Luckily, they are, again, a much warmer connection for you, and they are in town. They've taken up in an old VR arcade, similar to the technology that Alan was forced into in the stack, but like the consumer grade version, which is considerably less cool. But it's now become like a weird, like almost Coney Island thing. They've set up like, in the absence of opportunity, they've set up like skee ball and like just like non-technological entertainments, but it's good cover for them because it's kind of a juvenile pleasure palace. So they're able to kind of lay low. So you make your way over to that. It is called VR 3D Fun. In the way that like the fun is lowercase, but everything else is uppercase, in the way that all weird, like I found like every computer and like internet cafe bar, they all have such weird names where it's just like leagueoflegends.com/bar. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? That same trend continues here in Air. In fact, I'm going to add a .io on the end of that just for funsies. So you arrive at vr3dfun.io, and there's a bunch of urchins who are sort of crowding the entrance. They're trying to cash tickets in for a bunch of dead tech. This is stuff that will clearly never run again. There's no quantum energy that can charge it. But it would have been very expensive, so they think it's cool. And you can see one of the Twists who helped during the MechFest raid, and like you literally watched like eviscerate a man. I'm just like happily like making jokes with these kids and like pulling tickets off, kind of a Steve Buscemi type, and handing stuff out. And that's what you see as you approach vr3dfun.io.
Tom, quick question about the world. Is Neo Baldur's Gate the kind of place we can walk around openly bearing arms, or are we
absolutely
dope?
Yeah, it's always been like in Marvel terms, it's Madripoor. In Star Wars terms, it's like Nar Shaddaa or some of the worst parts of Tatooine. It's just like you can open carry. Honestly, people would look at you like you're nuts if you weren't. Like that would be the Men in Black. Like, okay, all these aliens are just out doing their thing. Who's this little girl? That's the scary bit. Yeah. So
yeah. Then Declan walking up to this place, he's got his Frederick is slung over his back, and he's just got an assault rifle hung in that way where it like almost clips into the harness on the chest, so you can let his hands go like modern soldiers. Otherwise, it's there. Mm-hmm. And I think, barring honor system seeing something weird, we like the twist, so he'd be fine with just walking up to the door.
Sure.
Yep. Yeah. Honor system's on the same page.
Great. So the guy at the door just like pulls down like the equivalent of like a high-end tablet, the kind of thing Tiffany would have broken 8 times by lunch, and just says, "Yep, sure, here you go, kid. That'll be 3 whole tickets. Now I hope you earned those, and you didn't just like run up to the hole and just drop the ball in the big one." And the kid's like, "No, man, I wouldn't do that." He's like, "All right, well, that's good because I'd have to kill you." I would have to kill you. And the kid just kind of like takes the tablet and leaves. And as the kid makes his way out, he turns to the two of you and he says, our friends from the new future, Mr. McCready, Mr. System, welcome. Don't tell me you're here for a round of skee ball or whack a regulator.
We were hoping to have a conversation with Sublime about some intelligence that's come into our hands.
Oh, well, I'm sure she'll be happy to see you. You're actually in luck. She just got back from a mission a couple days ago. A little worse for the wear, so she's just resting in the back. But, as long as you don't need her to kill anyone today, that should be just fine. So hang on. Let me just, get her on the uplink system and let her know you're coming. He literally picks up a tin can on a string. He's like, hey, Sublime, we got some people coming back. It's our comm system. You like it?
I like it a lot.
All right, great. And he holds the cup up to his ear. And he's like, yeah, I think she said you're good to come back. I don't know. It's hard to hear through these things, but honestly, she likes you guys. So you go ahead. All right. Hey, you want this novelty comb? 5 coupons. And you make your way through VR3dfun.io. Declan, you can't help but wonder if this is the kind of place that like Seamus would have liked back when it was operating, or if you'd like it more now. I don't think you think of him very often, but given that you've got your brain wipe coming up, I think he's like a little bit more front of mind than normal. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's that weird thing where also as an absent parent, there's the idea that your kid is always like 5. Like you don't have that idea of like, oh, he's 12 or like, oh, he's 13. He'd have very different interests. Instead, it's always that little kid version of things. And for him, it's that weird, dark guilt. I don't think he feels guilt about anything except Seamus. That's like he fucked that up. That was not supposed to happen. And then he brought like the only choice you never get to make, in his opinion, is like being born. So he made that choice for somebody else and then was not around to make that shit fucking work because he's in no way equipped for it. So I think, and then the idea of the mind wipe coming up just impounds the guilt, because wiping his mind will let him not feel guilty about that thing, which feels like how much of it is for him and how much of it is for Seamus, to which the answer is, I need to oil my gun more. I need to oil my gun more. When do I kill Jeff Bezos? Because his whole life is just action and not dealing with consequences.
Right.
And that's been fine, except for Seamus. So it's anxiety, depression spiraling is how I would describe that.
Okay, cool. I like that. So like walking into a friendly situation, but with as much anxiety as perhaps more than walking into a war zone.
Yeah. The shitty restaurant, fine. Room full of dead people, fine. Going through a place a child would enjoy, absolutely torturous. That's Declan.
Yeah, can you roll me a mind save?
That is a 16.
16. Okay. You managed to keep it together, but barely. This is not a great adventure for you. But you make your way to the back room, and sure enough, Sublime is there, and like a little rough is a desperate understatement. Her head is wrapped in bandages, like her like chest is wrapped in bloody bandages. She's been through the ringer. But you walk in, and she's got a bottle of Jim's rum that she's like pouring into like a kid's sippy cup, because like that's what they've got on hand, with like all the characters of VR3dfun.io printed around the outside, and she just kind of looks up at you with the one eye that isn't covered in bandages and is like, oh hey guys, so that's what Graven was muttering about through the tin can, huh? Interesting. Well, hey, good to see you. What's gotta die?
System, I'm a bit distracted by the glittering lights outside. Why don't you take lead on this one?
Hello. Oh my god, I forgot her name.
Sublime.
I was gonna call, this is a gross name, I was gonna call her Succulent. I'm so glad I didn't. Please. No, thank you.
My sister Succulent. She's not as good at murder as I am, but I appreciate the thought.
I've never been more sure. I just found an episode title.
It came into my mind, and I was like, "No, it's definitely not that, dude. Think harder." And it's just not. Yeah.
All right, so it turns out you failed your mind save. Declan made his.
Yeah. Oh God. Hello, Sublime. It's good to see you. I hope you're recovering nicely.
Oh, this, yeah. I mean, you should see the the bits of the other guy. They're just sprayed across the thing. But anyway, yeah, no, I'm doing all right. You two look different. I guess the end of the world has changed you too, huh?
Yes, yeah. A lot has changed for a lot of people, but in some ways, our mission remains the same. We are looking to kill or destroy Geffcinda Bee-Zos.
Yeah. The last of the corporate giants, huh? So you're going after the head of advanced idea mechanics, and zero other options. Never, huh?
Yes, Amazon.
Yes, yeah. Good. Well, look, after what he did to Nairfrost, I got to say, I'm pretty on side with you taking this guy out. I don't know how you kill a bunch of bees, but I'm excited to find out. What do you need from me? What do you need from us? We've been very busy, so our war chest is very full. So happy to do a favor for a friend if it means I don't need to keep looking, and not so much over my shoulder, but kind of to the sky to figure out whether we're going to be smote from on high by a giant fucking space laser.
I think space lasers in particular are out of the question for the time being, as long as quantum energy is...
Fingies crossed.
Yes. We're looking for any information you might have on Mr. Bee-Zos. We have a few leads that we need to follow up on, but all we understand now is that he's picking up MFTs and that he cannot currently be found.
So I just rolled on her investigation check on what her people have found. And the good news is I rolled a 19 plus stuff. So so she nods and says, yeah, that's, my people have been hearing that too. It's been an interesting challenge because part of me really wants to just take these mages out. Not all of them, of course, but like the bad ones and the ones that are being aggressively auctioned their services off to like the highest bidder. That scares us a little bit. I know your friend Alan seemed pretty on the level, but generally speaking, little concerned about how much power is just being like handed out to rich people right now. Not great. That said, we have heard a few things. We know that the canon. We found some files about it in one of the a dead computer we were able to get back online. It's known as the Zeus cannon, and it should have the capability to fire a hell of a lot more than it has been. So again, good for now. The thing that's been scaring us a bit is there have been flyers dropped in a number of neighborhoods, the neighborhoods most heavily affected by the loss of quantum energy. We're not talking like, the cities where everyone's been able to get back on the old electrical grids or anything like that. I'm talking the places that were more reliant on quantum batteries and regular shipments from the conglomerate to keep them up and running. They've been receiving these, and she opens her desk and she pulls out a flyer. And it's printed, which is a little surprising given the current kind of like how hard that is to do right now. And it looks like a 1950s like utopian suburban neighborhood image. It's like a lot of people like an orc couple walking hand in hand across a manicured lawn where there's like a couple of gnomes pushing a lawnmower and waving, but in that like retro futuristic, like everything's very rounded and very designed, and it says delivering soon, primer hoods, and it seems to promise like good jobs for everyone, free housing, free food, and it just says like become part of the system loves you, and it has a date, which is Lunar 1st, 2100. About a month away, the turn of a new century, and apparently the delivery date for Bee-Zos's dream. So looking at the two of you, she says, if this is something Bee-Zos is doing, then it seems to me we've got a pretty tight time frame to get this done. So I'm going to put all of the power of the twists in your hands. We got to get this shit done. What's the play?
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099 features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Hamstra at EL Hamstring on Twitter, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra. The system we're playing is Carbon 2185, and Dum-Dums and Dragons artwork is by Del Borovic, who can be found at delborovic.com. Our theme songs are Core Collapse and Sanctuary of the Sky Gods by Nathaniel Yaverne, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, Jahzzar, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Now I'm off to do future things before we return for the next episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. The Half-Blind Prophet, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Sammy Boy, Orion Birchfield, Scott Garland, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Acrix, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Austin Nut Powers Fry, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Roman Brown, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.